Hi, and welcome to this live stream where I'm going to deliver my first conversational model to you in this live stream called the Four Sides. This model also has a few other names, the Four Ears, the Four Square, I think. So choose the name that you like the most. I'll just call it the Four Sides conversational model. Now, this isn't so much a conversation strategy that you could go out and use today in a conversation. Um, Many of what I'm going to give to you over the following live streams are immediately actionable strategies that you could go out and use the same day. Um, this one is a little bit more involved. It's maybe a little bit harder to convey. It's going to take a little bit longer, and I'm going to reserve my judgment to it until the end of the live stream before I give you my opinion, because I've got mixed feelings about it. And I'm going to share those at the end. And I'm also going to share something else, a little bonus that I want you to stick around for until the end. Now, let's get right into it. So, the four sides conversational model. Let's start by defining the three components of a conversation. And I'm not using my own terminology at this point when I say, first of all, is the speaker, or what's termed as the sender of the information, or the message that's being spoken. Then, if we're in a conversation together, you will be the receiver of the message. And then the third component of this conversation is the message itself. So, sender, receiver, and the message that's going back and forth. So, in a real time one on one conversation, we're going to exchange places. At some point, you're going to be the sender, I'll be the receiver, and then I'll be the sender, and you'll be the receiver, etc. Not deep stuff. Okay. Now, the strategy, not the strategy, the model itself, as it's called the four sides, we can logically deduce that there's four components to this model. Okay, so we'll call them layers. So the first layer is the informational or the matter layer. Again, it's got a few different terminologies. So we call it, it's most easiest to understand if we call it the informational layer. So this is where you give a statement to somebody, a statement of fact. And at this layer, it's probably the most difficult to actually deliver a confusing message, because that's what this model is all about. It's about trying to eliminate misunderstandings and confusion in your dialogue, um, in this ever shrinking world, where people can more often than not be talking to somebody that's come from a different culture, a different country, and has very different upbringings and very different interpretations of the same word or the same statement. So in this day and age, it's very easy to mislead somebody in your communication without realizing it. I know this very well from my own personal experience. A lot of the friends in my life now are from other countries, and having an online business, I often work with people from other countries, and communication has to be very clear for us to have a successful exchange, and for not to waste each other's time, in whatever it is we're doing or talking about. So this is an important model in this respect of trying to identify mistakes in our dialogue, or just clean it up a little bit. Um, so the informational layer, a quick and simple example of that would be to say, hey, that plant over there is green, or that wall is painted pink. Very simple, basic statement. It's a statement of fact. Hard to get wrong, or to miscommunicate or mislead somebody with. Although I always get pink and purple mixed up. So what I think is pink, somebody else will say is purple. So there's still room for misunderstanding even at this layer. Um, but believe it, there is plenty of scope for misunderstanding it, even at this very basic informational layer where you think you're just given a statement of fact. It can still be interpreted differently. Now, at the other three layers, I'm going to give you more specific examples from my own experience. So the next layer is what they call the self-revelation layer, the self-revealing layer. So at this point, we're not talking about direct communication anymore, but the message that you give somebody indirectly. So instead of trying to explain it, let me get straight into an example of what I mean. So if we're having a one-on-one conversation now, and I told you that once upon a time in the winter of 2001, I went to Prague in the middle of winter, late December, and I got up one morning at 5 a.m. It was sub-zero, about minus 10 degrees, and it was snowing outside. And I put my tracksuit on and my shirt, and I went jogging through the streets of Prague city centre. Now you might say, that's crazy. Jogging? Who does that? Now, you've just potentially revealed something about yourself. Your self-revealing layer, you've revealed something about yourself. I might interpret it that you think I'm crazy. I'm a bit of an idiot for having done that, gone out jogging at that time in the morning in such cold weather. Or you might have revealed to me that you don't like jogging. I might interpret it that you think people that go jogging are idiots, or there's multiple ways that this can be interpreted. And if we reduce the statement down, and I just said to you, I went out jogging the other day, and you said, or you laughed, and you said, who does that anymore? Who goes jogging? And now I've got the impression that you don't like jogging. And that's my interpretation. You've revealed something about yourself indirectly through that statement, and it might not be true. It's just my interpretation of your statement. Going back to the jogging through Prague at 5 o'clock in the morning on a freezing cold midwinter day. That's a true story, and there was a reason behind it. I went to Prague to have some eye surgery, and I was having eye surgery that very day that I went jogging. Now, the company that was doing the surgery on me, and now it's only a local anaesthetic, so I was very nervous about this because I was going to be awake the whole time that they had their surgical scalpels near to my eyes, and I'm a bit partial to my eyesight, and so I'm nervous about this operation. Now, they sent a driver out to pick me up from the airport the previous day, and he forgot to tell me that you don't drink alcohol before an operation. It might seem obvious to some people, but to me, I didn't know this at the time. And so I'm by myself in Prague the day before this surgery, and I decide I'm going to go to a few bars and try and relax myself, try and relax the nerves out of myself. And so I did that, and then I came home late that night, and I had the message waiting for me. Don't drink alcohol. Sorry, we forgot to tell you, but you mustn't drink alcohol before the surgery. Now I'm in this position where I've already had some alcohol. So I'm thinking, what can I do about this? I've paid for this surgery. I'm going private. So I get up at 5 o'clock that morning with the intention of going out jogging. And the idea in my mind was that I'd be able to burn off the alcohol from my bloodstream, because alcohol is a blood thinner, and that's why you're not supposed to drink alcohol. So I thought I can burn it off by going out on a really intense jog that morning and drinking a lot of water and basically purging my system of the alcohol. That was what was in my mind at the time, and that's the reason I was doing it. It might seem crazy, but it seemed quite logical to me at the time. Anyway, the point is that I've now interpreted or made an assumption about you based on your reaction to what I said. And I might not question it. I might not try and get you to confirm what you said. Do you mean that you don't like jogging? So I've just taken it now as something that I know about you. Now, The next layer is called the relationship level. And again, we're talking about indirect revelations, this time between you and me if we're in a one-on conversation. Let's say, for example, I'm throwing a party and I've invited you to my party. And at some point in the evening, I say to you, what time are you leaving? What time are you going? And you interpret that to mean that I don't like you. I don't want you at the party. And I've revealed to you something about our relationship. I don't particularly like you. Now, that may be entirely untrue, but that's what you've interpreted from what I said. I've misled you. I've miscommunicated. You've misinterpreted me through perhaps no fault of your own because it was my bad communication. But that situation now exists. But I might have said it for a completely different reason. I might have lined up a blind date for you. You might be single, and I've got a date coming to the party later on that evening. And I want to make sure that you're still there when they arrive because I want the two of you to meet, right? So that may be why I'm asking you what time you're planning to leave, because I want to ensure that you're still there to meet this date that I've arranged for you. But that's inconsequential because I've given you a totally different impression. And that's the example for the relationship layer. Now, finally, the fourth layer is the matter layer. Bear with me a second. I'm just going to refer to my notes. I've got some notes here. We have the relationship layer, the self-revelation layer, and the relationship, self-revelation, the appeal. Okay. Now, that's why I found this one a little hard to remember, the appeal layer, because I'm not sure how it relates to what this layer actually represents. So let me, instead of trying to explain, let me get straight in with an example, because this layer is when you communicate something to somebody and you leave it to them to interpret what you meant. So I'm not sure what appeal layer actually means. What does appeal? How does that relate to this layer? I don't know, but doesn't really matter. So let me get into it with an example. And this is an example for anyone that's been in a relationship. You might recognize it. So you're going out for the night. Maybe it's a wedding reception, or you've got a dinner table booked for 8 p.m. that evening in a restaurant. And your partner is taking a long time over getting ready to go out. And you're all ready to go. And so you say to them, hey, this restaurant, they only allow you 5 minutes to be late before they give your table away to somebody else. Now, I've left it to you to interpret what I mean by this, because clearly I mean something, right? And most people might interpret that to mean that I'm telling you to hurry up. If it's us, if we're on a date, we're going out to a restaurant at 8 p.m. And you're taking a long time to get ready, and I'm a little impatient, and I want you to hurry up. And I say to you, the restaurant will give our table away if we're not there by 8 p.m. You interpret this to mean perhaps hurry up, or you're taking too long. In fact, I might have just meant that, hey, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful that you don't need to put all that makeup on. I like to see you natural instead of all made up. So don't do it. Let's go as you are. That's a nice, generous interpretation of what I might be trying to communicate. But there you go. The possibility exists for different interpretations in what I mean and what you understand by what I mean. So that's the 4 layers. So in summary, we've got the informational layer to start with, or the matter layer, and then the self-revelation layer, and then the relationship layer, and then finally the 4th layer, which I have again forgotten. What was it? The appeal layer. Yeah. You see, it's a little bit vague, that. Hey, how about that for an irony? You're talking about a conversational model where you're trying to that focuses on removing misunderstandings, and we've got a misunderstanding or a confusion right there within one of the names of the model itself. I don't know. It might make a lot of sense to you. It doesn't to me, but I don't know why I'm dwelling on it. So now I want to give you my thoughts on this because, as somebody who has had a history of um, my mind going blank in conversations through anxiety or shyness or whatever you want to call it, whatever reason your mind goes shy, it is most commonly because you have the fight or flight response to a social situation, that in the headlight response, and your mind goes to that freeze, flight, fight mode. And so it closes down all your essential operations of your mind and body, and it gets ready to run, get out of there as fast as possible. And when this happens, blood in your body diverts to your muscles, ready for explosive action. And this includes your higher cognitive thinking, which is why your mind can go blank in these social situations, because your 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 system has literally closed it down. It's not an essential function, so that resource is being diverted to your muscles, ready for explosive action, and that's why your mind goes blank. And so this is what this is what I've experienced a lot, and it's very easy for miscommunications, misunderstandings to fly about all over the place. And in my own trainings, in my own courses, my own workshops, I try my best to remove what I call those little breaks or roadblocks, though, all those things that can cause you to overthink and make your brain close down and panic, um, because that's when your brain or your mind closes down and goes blank. So the more of those roadblocks you can remove from your mind, the more likely it is to stay open. And this conversational model, the four sides model that we've just walked through, is an example where you can be introducing roadblocks or breaks into your conversation rather than removing them. And so you're creating more opportunity for your mind to go blank rather than removing them. Because now you're thinking about your communication and whether or not you are misleading someone, and you're overthinking and you're in your own head thinking about it when you should be outside your own head and listening to what the other person is saying and being present in the moment rather than being trapped in your head overthinking your own words and whether they're leading to some miscommunication or you're overthinking what somebody else has said to you, and that classic mind reading thing. What did they mean by that? And you're trapped in your own head. So for me, this conversational model promotes that scenario where your mind can close down and go blank and go into a fight flight mode because you've introduced these breaks into your own mind. And for that reason, I'm not a big fan of this model. That being said, on the other hand, I do find merit in it because now I've reread it and I've familiarized myself with this model. My awareness has been raised of misunderstandings, the potential for misunderstandings. And when somebody is communicating to me, I'm not automatically thinking, well, you meant that. I'm thinking, well, yeah, they might have meant that, but maybe they didn't. And it's inconsequential. I'm just going to put it to one side and carry on. I'm not going to be trapped in a loop of thinking about it. I'm just going to get on with it. But my awareness has been raised that was a potential misunderstanding, and I can just put it to one side. It's not what they said didn't automatically mean what they said indirectly, if you know what I mean. I'm in danger here of going around the houses and muddying the waters of this whole thing. I understand that. So I'm reaching the end of this live stream now, but I want to just give you a quick example um, of something, a quick dialogue that happened with me only yesterday um, between me and my sister-in-law, because over the Christmas period, I was telling her about a project I was starting. Um, this year, I was going to be doing it through January, February, and March, and I was telling her about this project I was doing. And yesterday she asked me, "How's it going?" And I told her, "Don't ask." Now, for me, from my perspective, I was saying, "Don't ask because it's not going well. So don't ask me about it. Don't ask." And that's, to me, that's what it means. But to her, she's from a different country. So she didn't automatically get that meaning. And straight away she asked me, "Why, what do you mean? Why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I ask?" And that threw me because I thought I was making such an obvious statement. Then it became clear that, I might have been coming across as rude. Hey, don't involve yourself in my business. Don't stick your nose in. Don't ask. It's none of your business. She might have interpreted my words in that way. So the potential existed for the misunderstanding. Of course, she's not that kind of girl to jump to conclusions, but somebody else might have done, and they might not have asked me. Why shouldn't I ask? They may have just walked away with the assumption that, well, I asked something, but I was told it was none of my business when I didn't mean that at all. I simply meant that the project I'm doing is not going particularly well, and hey, don't ask. You know what I mean? So there it is. On the one hand, I don't like this conversation model because the potential is multiplied for creating roadblocks in your mind and for your mind closing down and going blank and overthinking everything. On the other hand, it's good because your awareness of language is elevated. And I like that. And you can at points introduce into the conversation when you feel like it, just a clarification when somebody says something and you're not quite sure what they mean. Don't be afraid to ask and get them to clarify what they mean, just like my sister-in-law did for me when I said don't ask, and she said, "Why not? Why shouldn't I ask?" She wanted a clarification because she didn't understand. And so if there's something that you don't understand, or you're thinking, now that your awareness has been raised and you're thinking, well, am I interpreting this correctly? Let's ask and find out. So for those reasons, I like the model because it raises your awareness. So ultimately, I've got mixed feelings about it, but on the whole, I would say, you know, get familiar with the model and just raise your awareness to some level of your own communications, and just tone down a little bit and make sure you're not using too many expressions and assuming the other person is understanding you. And for the other person, make sure that you're not just assuming that what they're saying is what they are meaning. If you're taking something the wrong way, are you sure that that's what they meant? So get some clarity. And that's it for this model, the four sides conversational model. Now, at the beginning of this live stream, I did say that I've got something I want to give to you as a bonus. I'm not sure if I expressed myself very clearly. What I mean is, what I'm doing is I'm running a workshop very shortly. I haven't got the date set yet. It's called the 10 Topics in Your Pocket. And as I've said on my previous live stream, I blend conversational strategies with memory techniques. If you are the person that gets a blank mind in conversations, your mind does close down in conversations. This is a perfect conversational strategy if that's you, and you are quiet in conversations. Or on the other hand, if you're blurting out too much and you're giving away too much personal information in first meetings, that's because your mind again has gone blank, and you've got an awkward silence, and so you're dredging anything you can think of to say, and that might be improper information that you shouldn't be sharing on a first meeting with somebody. And so if this is you, if you recognize this as you, then this workshop is perfect for you. It's called the 10 Topics in Your Pocket. And it's ideal if you are someone who is shy and gets a blank mind sometimes in conversation, or you just want to really take your conversation to the next level. This strategy that I'm going to deliver to you in this workshop expands your conversational range, your small talk range by at least 300%. And because you're on this live stream and because you're here to the end, I'm going to put a link in to the description that gives you a 20% discount on that workshop. I mean, the full price is only $27 anyway, or 20 pounds in pounds, in dollars 27. But in the link in the description, there'll be a link for a 20% discount. I'll call the discount what I'll think of it right here and now on the spot. Top 10 20. That'll be the discount. Top 10 20. And that'll be the discount if you follow the link to the checkout page and you decide to sign up for this workshop. You will get a 20% discount using top 10 20. There'll be a place for you to put a discount code in, and you'll get a discount if you sign up. And then we'll come up with the dates over the next week or two. So even if you can't make the dates, it will be recorded so that you'll get a recording, and there will be other bonus material as well. There'll be a PDF to download. There'll probably be a hypnotherapy session to go with it as well, because I'm trained in clinical hypnotherapy. I do like to create hypnosis scripts and recordings to go with my trainings. I like to do that as an extra bonus, to really hit the mind at a deeper level and really establish the training in the subconscious mind and let it flourish, not just at a conscious level, but a subconscious level. So there you go. There'll be probably a hypnosis bonus in there as well. If you want to follow the link in the description and use the discount code of top 10 20. In fact, I won't even put top 10 20, top 10 20. That'll be top 10 spelt TOPTEN, and then 20 as in 20. Top 10 20. I won't put that in the description, so you'll only be able to claim it if you've listened. That's a bit cheeky, isn't it? But there you go. So if you're interested in that workshop, go to the link, sign up for the workshop, and it will run sometime within the next few weeks. And if you're not able to make it, then you'll get a recording. You'll get a log into the membership area where you can access the bonuses and the training itself. It's going to be a fantastic workshop. But if you're not interested in that, simply look out for the next live stream and the next conversational strategy, which I guarantee is going to be a lot clearer, a lot simpler than what we've covered today. And it will be something that will be actionable straight away. And that's my promise to you at the end of this live stream. So thanks very much for listening. If you've stayed right till the end, it's been a bit of a long-winded one. I feel it was a bit of a deep dive for the first strategy, but it's out of the way. We might cover it again in the future if I'm able to communicate clearer and more rapidly without all the padding in between. You know what I mean? It's always been a problem with me. I'm going to work on that through these live streams and try and make my own communication cleaner as we go along. Because they always say that, the best way to learn to do something is to teach somebody else. So I'm at that level now where I want to teach you and improve my own communication through the process of teaching others. Thanks for listening.